Hello and welcome to Ryno's Ravens review. We're going to have a quick turnaround as this next week, week 11 in the NFL for the Ravens, and will start Thursday. So, preview show will be Wednesday. So, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll receive notifications when videos come out. All right, where to start? Well, let's start with the notes here. Great start by the Ravens against the Browns, but a terrible finish. Terrible probably isn't a strong enough word. Abysmal. It was an abysmal finish. Hamilton, pick six, and that was the start I'm referring to. You had to kick off. The Browns ran one play on offense, and then on the second play, the Browns ran on offense. Hamilton kind of disguised himself behind the line of scrimmage, behind the front, the defensive front, or kind of in a linebacker position, to, let's say, Deshaun Watson's left. And when the ball snapped, he kind of came around the edge there. Watson, I assume, didn't see him because he was going to do a little dump off out to his left. And all of a sudden, there was Hamilton to tip the ball right up to himself. Kind of volleyballed it to himself. And took it the 20 yards to the end zone. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? Another pick six. This time it was Jackson throwing it. Yes, it was tipped again, but the pass rusher on Jackson's right side did get up into the passing lane, or jumped, not necessarily in the passing lane. He was already in the passing lane. Jumped up a little bit to tip the pass. Of course, he didn't tip the pass. He ended up missing it, and it hit him in the face mask. Partly because you know how Lamar Jackson likes to throw. He likes to drop his arm down instead of, releasing it higher above his head, which I think a lot of quarterbacks do. Jackson kind of releases it about even with his head, maybe even a little under. So the ball doesn't get up over the line that well. And yeah, I feel like we had gotten to a point in the season where we're talking about, Lamar Jackson has turned a corner passing. And then all of a sudden, he looks like crap again. Wow. I guess that just goes to show you, we can't do that, right? Oh, look at how good Lamar Jackson is at passing now. All of a sudden, bam. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Just automatically play videos. I didn't tell you to do anything. That's why I hate computers. This is why I really hate them. They just automatically do things. I don't want you to automatically do things. I don't know why we would want that. I mean, if we keep going down this path, James Cameron is going to be right. And Skynet, evil artificial intelligence, will end up taking over the world. Well, because we're allowing it to. So thank you, BaltimoreRavens.com, for programming your website to just automatically play videos, even though I have actually come onto this page because I do my little prep work, and I paused that video at least. That's probably the fourth time that I paused a video. But for some reason, BaltimoreRavens.com is telling me no, I'm not allowed to have that video paused. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, back to the notes. All right, slam that down a little too loud, I think. That's also what I wanted to mention in the fourth quarter. Not only the pick six by Jackson, but the defense had no answer for Cooper or Njoku. Several big catches from wide receiver Amari Cooper and tight end David Njoku, if I remember that correctly. But there were a lot of good points in the game. Another touchdown for Odell Beckham Jr. Kind of fumbled that. Odell Beckham Jr. He took a what? He took a slant route. Holy shit, Ravens are running slant routes now? Wow. All of a sudden, apparently they know how to run slant routes. Pretty sure I mentioned that in another video. Well, another good slant route run this time. Pass was thrown at the right spot, led Odell Beckham Jr. the right amount, and Odell took it 40 yards for a touchdown. Executed pretty much perfectly, as far as I'm concerned there. Then mentioned he had bad day passing when we were saying he's turning a corner. And special teams, still a problem, right? Another field goal blocked from pressure up the middle. Huh. I don't know why all of a sudden we're having this problem. Why? How many blocks have we had from pressure up the middle? I think one on a punt, and this is what, the second on a field goal? That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. That's a really bad thing. Especially when your head coach is somewhat of a special teams specialist and we're having special teams problems. Okay. All right, as I said, I was on BaltimoreRavens.com. Let's take a look at some of the statistics, courtesy of the Game Center page here on BaltimoreRavens.com. Look at Lamar passing, 13 for 23. Wow. That's the lowest it's been in a long time. Did have 223 yards, which is good for only 13 completions. Just didn't complete that many passes. Did have a touchdown pass, as I mentioned, to Odell Beckham Jr. 2 picks. So it really killed you. One in the fourth quarter, and the first interception Jackson threw on the day was with about 1:09 left going into halftime. That's a huge swing. You're sitting there, you got the ball, you got 1:10, 1:05, however many, somewhere around there, to go down the field and get points because you get the ball in the second half. So you really like to finish going into halftime with you possessing the ball and getting points and then receiving the kickoff to start the second half. But wasn't meant to be, as Lamar Jackson, which side was he throwing to? He was throwing to his right side. Bateman running down the right sideline. Would have been the north sideline. For some reason, he threw it about 5 yards behind. What is it? Bateman. Rashad Bateman. Threw it 5 yards behind Rashad Bateman. I mean, to me, it looked like he's running a go route down the sideline. Why are you throwing it 5 yards behind him? It didn't look like Jackson was hindered too much in being able to step up and, throw it over his head. It just looked like he apparently thought Bateman was going to come back to it. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, it could have been a comeback route, but this is what happens when you do that sometimes. Because a lot of times, and I heard this on one of the broadcasts, is sometimes these plays are kind of an option play, and it does depend on the corner's coverage. Usually if the corner is press, I think, is what I heard, it's usually going to be a go route. But if the corner is off, that's when it's going to be a comeback route. Because then you throw it 5 yards short. Well, the corner's 5 yards ahead of the wide receiver. So then you're throwing it to a wide receiver where there's nobody around him. That necessarily wasn't the case because the corner was right on Bateman. So the option there should not have been a comeback route. But different teams and different strokes for different folks, and you don't exactly know what the play call was. You would have to ask Lamar Jackson or Todd Monken that. Or Bateman, assuming everybody even got the play call right. But really, the only one looking back for the ball was the cornerback. Like, Bateman had no idea. All of a sudden, Bateman turns around and looks, and there's the cornerback running away. Oh. He threw the ball behind me. Oh. There goes that scoring opportunity. Luckily, the defense held, and the Browns weren't able to put up points going into the half, which would have been worse. Another thing that seemed to really not go the Ravens' way was running. Yeah, you see Jackson had 40 yards, but that is somewhat expected. But look at everybody else. What is that? 16 attempts, and they barely had more than 60 yards. Oh, I guess they had 65 yards. They had 65 yards. It's not, that's not really what you expect to see from the Ravens. Especially when Keaton Mitchell, a lot of this was his touchdown run. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell did it again. It was their first possession. Let's go to NFL.com and look at these drives. Yeah, see Keaton Mitchell right here at the end. Keaton Mitchell off left tackle for 39 yards. His off tackle run, and he just took the corner and outran everybody. Where that was in the second half, or even after that, because he only had 3 carries on the day. Where that was, I don't know. It's like Keaton Mitchell just disappeared after this. At least as far as the game plan went, because he was there. We saw him in the end zone. Well, in the end zone, getting pass interfered with, and that got one of Gus Edwards' touchdowns because pass interference in the end zone. Ball's on the 1 yard line, so you gave it to Gus Edwards, which makes sense. So really not being able to establish the run really hurt. I mean, even you see Gus Edwards, 2.1 yards a carry. Justice Hill, 2 carries, 3.5 in average. Just wasn't there. They just didn't establish the run. Or couldn't, anyway. Passing, I mean, some of these receiver numbers aren't terrible. 5 targets, 5 catches for Zay Flowers, 4 targets, 2 catches for Andrews, not great. 2 targets, 1 catch for Beckham, 40 yards here. Keaton Mitchell caught a pass in this. So he was there. It's just didn't use him enough, because it seems like whenever he got his hands on the ball, things happened. 1 catch for 32 yards. It was a screen pass. Did he line up in the backfield, or was he lined up kind of like a wide receiver? It did look more like a wide receiver bubble screen, and he was able to take it. But it did seem like it was a slow developing play, which I'm not sure I really like that much. But things like that are very useful. It's somewhat to the extent of a draw play. It does kind of help you with the pass blocking, which wasn't great. Baltimore Ravens did not pass block the Cleveland Browns that well. Of course, I mean, I said that, they had, and I forgot the guy's name. What is their defensive end? What is his name? Wow, I forgot his name. Myles Garrett. Wow. Myles Garrett is very tough to block. And Stanley actually went out with a lower body injury again in the fourth quarter, and that really hurt the pass protection. Because now you got Falele on the left side because Morgan Moses couldn't go, so you got McCary over on the right side. Though not necessarily sure why You didn't have McCary on the left side and Falele on the right side, but however. All right, before we get into some of this other blunders by the offense and or the defense, it's going to be late in game. Let's talk about some of the stats here. Now, the Ravens were able to get 4 sacks. You see Clowney here with 2, Owe with 1. Actually, another forced fumble. Matabike with 1. But, and of course, on the last drive, you get Owe to finally do something. Not only get a sack, but get the strip sack. Guess what? Browns fell on it, not the Ravens. So, once again, the Ravens force a fumble on defense and can't jump on the ball. I mean, it happens, I guess, you know. It's just, man, really? I mean, there's really only one guy that was around there, and I think it was Matabike, and he just kind of got beat to the ball, I guess. But, I mean, talking about the block field goal, that was one reason why, or one of the big keys that led to the Ravens not winning, not being able to put up points going into halftime. That was a big thing. And then let's come down to the fourth quarter here. You're punting the ball in the fourth quarter. That's not a great thing. As you can see here, 2 punts. Now, yes, you do see back-to-back possessions here. Back-to-back possessions by the Ravens, and then back-to-back possessions by the Browns. Well, let's talk about that. This is what we're talking about when we say closing games out. If you're punting the ball in the fourth quarter, that's not a good thing. That's not. It's not a good thing. You start on your 25, you get 20 yards and punt. That's not a great thing. That's a bad thing. You really need to get more first downs. You really do. Now they got bailed out because they punted the ball, and our old friend James Prochet down there he made his fair catch signal, about to catch it, and then his other friend Devin Duvernay, gets up right there on him, you know, not touching him, but near him. Those two guys were kind of competing for the return man job, and I don't know if there's bad blood or whatnot, but it was kind of Duvernay kind of standing there staring at James Prochet, and Prochet takes his eyes off the ball and looks at Duvernay, and there's the ball on the ground. So recovered by, I don't know, somebody. Whoever it was, who recovered the ball. Duvernay recovered the ball. That's right, I remember that now. So then here you are at the 17-yard line, or no, at the 12-yard line. You start at Cleveland's 12-yard line. How you gain 17 yards. Also the problem there. Way too many untimely penalties. Really hurts. But luckily this is where there was pass interference in the end zone, and guess what? Gus Edwards took it in from 1 yard. Now to the defense. Yes. Your offense gets the touchdown. And what happens? Well, you give the ball back to Cleveland, and of course they take it 56 yards for a touchdown. Wait a minute. They started on the 25. How's that 56 yards to a touchdown? Yeah, more penalties. Again, poorly timed penalties. To a certain extent, yes, that is bad for a defense to do. But to a certain extent, you kind of understand it because you know how the offense plays. And it's just the way the rules are. And the way, you know, some of these pieces are set up on opposing offenses. Deshaun Watson isn't some garbage man quarterback. He's a fairly good quarterback. David Njoku is a pretty good tight end himself. Amari Cooper, I guess, is kind of getting up there in football years, if you can call it that, but he seemed to be finding the zone, the soft, what do they call that? The open part of the zone, sitting down right into it and catching big gains. This was the drive where, was it this one or no, this is the one where it was the next drive where Oweh gets the sack, so it's 3rd and 19 or 2nd and 19, and of course he throws a 17-yard pass to Amari Cooper. Njoku and Cooper kind of just, they found a way to do it. They finding those holes in the zone, or, you're throwing it to Njoku kind of short and he's just literally running through everybody. Very disappointing, but that is the symbol of a defense that's getting tired. So, Cleveland, they get their touchdown. Well, you get it right back, and you got enough time. You got enough time. It's not, you're not pressed for time here. You're also winning. Right? You're winning by 9 points. Or no, wait, not 9 points. 7 points. Yes, 7 points. Browns have 24. You have 31. You have plenty of time. Hell, if you go down and get just a field goal, then you make it a 2-possession game. But no, that's not what happened. Because why? Well, because bad play calling, bad execution, shit mechanics from a quarterback. I don't know. I'm Randy Johnson and I'm throwing a football. These guys are tall, man. Offensive linemen and defensive linemen, they're tall. You have to get the ball over their heads. You can't throw it at their head and be like, oh, what happened? The ball didn't go through. No. I mean, you throw the ball right at a defender or an offensive lineman's helmet. Even if it's a foot over their head, that's not enough. Maybe what you really need to do is you need to find a better passing lane. Don't try to throw directly over top linemen. So what do? I mean, they'll get out there and they'll knock the ball down. So that's what happens. You run a few plays, then you end up throwing a pick six. I mean, pass intended for Pat Ricard. Maybe that's part of the problem. I mean, I like Pat Ricard. I just don't know if that's the guy I want to get the ball that late in the game. The problem is because he's not getting down the field that quickly. So if you want to get him the ball, you got to get him away from the trenches there so you can get the ball to him. The closer somebody is to the line of scrimmage, the lower the trajectory of the ball will be. So throwing short passes like that isn't the greatest thing to do. Especially when the Cleveland Browns have a good defense. They know you're hurting on the offensive line because you're down to your third and your fourth string tackle because your top two are out. They're coming for you. And especially they know how Lamar handles blitzes sometimes, or pressure in general. Well, more evidence of that here. Well, I have not even looked at my notes when I'm talking about the offense and defense and how bad they played. 3 good quarters, lost Cooper. Defense did have trouble actually bringing down Deshaun Watson. They got pressure on Deshaun Watson a lot, but Deshaun Watson was able to break containment and either pick up a few yards or throw the ball down the field. Lamar Jackson, it kind of gets in this. Seems like Lamar gets in that mode where he wants to stay in the pocket, and it's like he doesn't even want to think about getting out of the pocket to throw the ball. Well, maybe if he'd have done that here, might have worked. And maybe you would have found somebody a little further down the field that was open. But it's getting to this point where they want to do a straight drop back and pass game. Really need to get him outside the pocket to throw the ball. Now, here I am in the disintegration of the pass protection. That's the word I use. Moses couldn't go. Stanley's out. Stanley went out on here on the Gus Edwards touchdown drive. That's when Stanley went out. So, not available for Lamar Jackson's pick 6 or this here where they punted. Oh, yeah. So Jackson throws the pick 6. Well, you get the ball right back. Guess what? Punt. You're still winning at this point. And part of the reason why is because Cleveland's kicker misses the extra point. You're still winning. You're still winning. Drive the ball down the field. No. 20 yards. Punt. What is he doing? What is he doing, Lamar Jackson? What is you doing, Todd Monken? I thought you won 2 national championships. You can't make some offense happen? You got a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who won the NFL MVP a few years ago. You guys can't make more than 20 yards of offense happen? When it's crunch time, get more yards or you lose the game. What happened? You lost the game. Again. Because you couldn't get yards and get more first downs and put points on the board late in the game. But your defense right back out there. Not that that really means anything because they did have some time to rest. Not a whole lot. But, again, you're making the defense try to close out the game instead of the offense. When you're on offense, you are in control. When you're on defense, you ain't in control of shit. I think this is a good spot to wrap up. Yes, the defense didn't play as well as maybe they normally do, but you got to expect that sometimes, that an offense is with a good quarterback, with a good wide receiver, with a good tight end. They're going to throw for some yards. They are going to throw for some yards. It's just the way the NFL is set up these days. What you got to do, especially when you're paying the quarterback all that money, you bring in all these wide receivers and you pay them all that money. You bring in a new offensive coordinator who won national championships here and there, and you're paying him. Like, you have the ball here at the end of the game. You don't necessarily need to take a butt ton of time off the clock, but then you got to score points. You didn't do that. Hell, even a field goal makes it to where the Browns would need a touchdown to win. Therefore, puts more pressure on the Browns and may have them end up running out of time because they kicked this field goal here as time expired. I'm not seeing, and maybe it's just my opinion, maybe I grew up too much of a Ravens fan when the defenses was dominating everybody. So when I see all these offenses out there scoring points, putting up yards, getting lots of money, I hate it when offenses end up punting with 5 minutes left in the game. Less than 5 minutes, because you see this for Cleveland's drive, 4 minutes and 55 seconds. That's when the Ravens punted the ball, or I guess that is when the possession officially changed, I guess. That's not a good thing. That's bad. That's bad. But at the same time, I do realize that The defense could have done more. They should have done more. I mean, they did get a pick six, so they are responsible for some of the points on the board. It's just, I feel the offense should be doing more when they're getting all the money and they're doing all the touchdown dances and they're doing, they're getting all the interviews and they're getting all the praise from all these commentators and sports shows. To me, this is unacceptable. You need to start ending more games with the offense on the field controlling the clock because they can move their ball at will. But, you can't. You can't. However. Alright, as I said, quick turnaround. Let's go find it. Still don't really understand this. I don't know how this is good for players' health. The only answer is it's not. It's good for money. Because now you have another day where people are focused on football. Cincinnati Bengals coming into M&T Bank Stadium playing the Baltimore Ravens this Thursday, scheduled for 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That is going to do it for this week. And yes, I will have a preview show Wednesday, so please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified when videos drop. I am the Angry Ryno. Fly, Ravens, fly.